So welcome to my first recording of Throwback Thursday. I was thinking about this, and I am going to begin my 28th year of whale watching hopefully in a couple months. And so I was thinking back on different years, and I wondered if I could remember something specific that happened from every year. And I'm sure I can. But this was the first year, 1994 was the very first year I came whale watching out in Gloucester. I had no idea whale watching was a thing in Gloucester. I went to school 2 hours from here, and I had been to Portsmouth a couple times during my college career, but I'd never been down to Gloucester. And so I think it was July 9th, I came out whale watching with a friend of mine. And that was the summer of Fracture and Zeppelin. So if any of you are around, I came in July, but then I didn't come as an intern until the end of August. So I kind of missed the whole summer. But that particular summer, the whale watch boats would drive out about 12 miles out of Gloucester. And they could literally, even if it was pea soup fog, they could sit there, and within 10 minutes or so, these two whales would pop up to the surface. So they didn't move very far. This is a picture of the two of them. Zeppelin is closest to us, and Fracture is a little bit further off. This, oddly enough, is not from that year. Actually, this was from a few years later. But the whale that I saw that day was a whale named Zeppelin. And I love this picture because it's totally out of focus, but it is a picture, okay? So for the first 10 years or so, I'm gonna have to scan some images. I have literally hundreds of pictures in my basement of the different whales that I saw then. This was taken in 93. It was not my picture, actually. This was kind of the catalog that we had at that time. But this is a whale named Zeppelin. And so this particular day was pea soup fog as we were heading out there. But once we got out there, I was standing up on the bow, and I stood there the whole trip. And I remember, first of all, I was blown away that they knew who this whale was. Because, when I was a kid, I wanted to work at SeaWorld. I didn't quite understand that it wasn't good for the whales at that point in my life. But part of the reason that I wanted to do that was because I wanted to have that relationship with a whale. Okay. So I come out whale watching, and the naturalist talks about this whale named Zeppelin. And in my mind, I'm going, oh my God, this whale swims 2,000 miles away and it comes back here, and it's the same whale, and it's a wild animal. And that absolutely blew my mind, and really changed my perception on what I wanted to do, because I wanted to get to know all of these whales. Well, the whale Zeppelin came and did a really close to boat approach and swam right under the bow. And I stood up on the railing. I was one of those yahoos that people yell at. But she swam right underneath us and then came up on the other side and took off. It was just an absolutely incredible sight that I remember so clearly. This is a picture of her. This wasn't that particular day, because I literally have no pictures of that day. But this is a picture of Zeppelin coming up real close to the bow on the side of the boat. She's just exhaling right there. And this is a couple years later too. She's a whale that I've seen quite often out there, but this is her slapping her tail on the surface. This is what her tail looks like. So the humpbacks out here are named by the patterns on their tail. And she has these two kind of whitish patterns on the outside that look like Zeppelin blimps. And so that's how she got her name. And this is what her dorsal fin looks like. She just has a really unique dorsal fin. It's kind of triangular, and then it's got that little notch out of the front. So she's a whale that's easy to recognize, even from the surface. Other really cool thing about her, this is the last thing I'm going to say, she has this really big lineage. So her mother is a whale named Milky Way, who was first seen in 1986. So Milky Way had Zeppelin in 1989. Zeppelin had milkweed in 2000, and then milkweed last year had her at least second calf, but that was milkweed's calf from the season last year. So it's really cool to be able to spend so much time with these animals. And then even this past summer, milkweed and her calf were out there quite a bit. So it's the child and grandchild of this whale that I first saw when I came whale watching out of Gloucester. So stay tuned. Next week, we'll learn more.